So, this time we're gonna be talking about the creation and integration. So, how does this all start? Like, I think we all know the official stories about how it all came to be. And there's the theory of evolution and the Big Bang theory, and then there's the biblical theory of how God created everything in 7 days. And that's all well and good. That's that serves a story, but I guess that's all it is. So how? And this is just not this life, but everything gets created in the same way. And if you watch the previous video about the action in the infinite potential, that is actually how everything is created. But let's just quickly dive into that a bit more. So if we think about the infinite being the consciousness being the infinite potential, the consciousness is the all-knowing but doesn't have a form. So how does the consciousness go from that nothing into materializing in, like what is that actual mechanics in that? Like how does that work? Like what is the process of going from nothing to everything, basically, because everything is created in this exactly the same way. So we are all vibration, and even let's say that the pure consciousness would be, we're gonna be using this for something else, so let's do like a pure consciousness would be just like there, and creating something in the, like that would take the material shape, is just the density of vibration. So let's say that the consciousness allows the human experience. So the human experience doesn't only vibrate on the conscious level. It has to vibrate also on the lower ends of the spectrum, because the lower you go, the more more density there is. So this is what creates the so-called form. This makes things materialize. Once that vibration goes into lower frequencies, and that gives it the density, and that's why the table feels solid. That's why everything feels solid, even though we are working with energy that is not solid in any measurable way, but it is the vibrational density that gives it the feeling of being solid. So it's all about the vibration. And in this life reality experience that we're having, we're basically working in the carbon based experience, like on those lower, what we did on the previous video, one of the previous videos, where I explained how the seven heavens are only happening in the lower chakra levels. That's all about the density. In the first four, we are all connected in the carbon-based reality, in the carbon-based being. And let's say that this is the pH 7. We all know that that's the neutral pH. This number 7 is the neutral on the pH level, meaning that we are not acidic or alkaline. We are neutral, and that's what consciousness always is. It is neutral. It is our experience that gives it the alkalinity or the acidity. So like I said, the first four chakras are always tied to the dense carbon-based, the material carbon-based reality. But it doesn't, like, once you understand that, nothing stops you from having the experience here as well. Because we are not only the material experience, we are the complete experience. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, the integration. Not trying to do only this or only the so-called spiritual experience. We are everything that there is. And trying to deny any part of that is always causing the friction. And there's nothing wrong with friction. I keep saying that. There's nothing wrong with anything that you have been doing. This is not to change anybody's whatever they're doing. This is just to help people understand the mechanics of how things work, how your life works. What you do with your life is always up to you. And if you're not happy with where you are in life right now, or about life, you don't understand life, like it's just boring waiting for death kind of experience, like, or there's something stuck in your life energy. And like I said before in my previous videos, I'm not denying that there are those Anunnaki, Archonic, all sorts of entities that are feeding off your energy. But I'm also saying that everything, every single thing comes from within. There is no archons outside you. Or, yes, if there is archons within, there will be archons on the outside. If that's your experience, then there is those archonic entities on the outside too. But there is something drawing that energy within first. And if that goes away, your energy vibrates higher. Your experience vibrates higher. The archons on the inside, they will dissolve, disappear, go away. And that will happen on the outside as well. So what is integration? What does that mean? What are we integrating? And that's something that we are going to be talking about today. And I think for the end of this video, I try to demonstrate what it actually means when you start integrating all aspects of your life, and how you are able to regain the knowledge, the understanding of that you are everything, all power is within. And once you understand that, you start to have the understanding what energy actually is, and how you are in full control of the energy at all times, at all times. And so so this would be a face, and it doesn't matter, it's just for the demonstration. And like I've said before, your experience in this reality is always unrepeatable, meaning you, through your eyes, the consciousness has this experience. Through your body, mind, soul experience, the consciousness has this experience. And the consciousness, like what I've said before, feels so stupid to keep referring to what I've said before, but it is what I'm trying to nail down here. The consciousness is always complete, just like your spirit is always complete. It doesn't need, your spirit doesn't need more spirituality. It doesn't need, your spirit doesn't need seeking. Your spirit is complete at all times, regardless of your awareness of it. It is just the mind that wants to have that continuous chase to fill that imaginary void that you are somehow not complete. And that's why we can become very depressed in life. And depression, let's put depression here. And it's always the ion. It's depressed ion. And you know what the ions are. So it's just the expression of the ion. So let's call this would be the shadow. Shadow self. And it's just the imaginary line that doesn't even exist, but just to get that sense of duality, let's use this imaginary line here. So what depression is just a sense of being disconnected, and you don't even have to really know what you are disconnected of, and that even adds to the depression, because you don't know what you are disconnected of. But we can put the all-seeing third eye in there as well if we start to integrate. So, so depression is just the sense of being disconnected and not knowing what you feel to be disconnected of, because it's just the feeling that we have, and it can be conscious or subconscious. But this would be the shadow self. Left side would be the shadow self. Kind of makes sense with how the brains work with the left and right hemispheres. So this is where your create on the right side, your creativity, love, compassion comes in, and this is where the insecurities live. So this is the side of the insecure. So going back to the disconnection, it's another ion. It's disconnect ion. All ions are within us, and these are the expressions of them. And so the feeling of disconnection leads into feeling insecure. And like all the, let's say, anger, pain, fear, we have two basic levels of emotion or feeling emotion. It's the love and fear. Everything so-called negative feeds off fear. Your angers are always fear-based. Your pain is, well, actually, that's actually a pretty good one. Pain doesn't have to be, there is a lot of love in pain, as there can be a lot of love in pain. It's kind of in the middle of fear and pain, but it's usually, of course, there's physical pain when you hit your foot on the something and you break your toe. That's gonna be painful. But talking about the emotional, the feeling of pain, like you're feeling sadness is here. And so what I'm trying to say with the integration is, I feel like most people would agree that the world right now on the outside seems very weird, very confusing, very chaotic. And then you might want to ask yourself, do you feel chaotic with your own thoughts? Does it feel chaotic? Like, are you fully aligned with yourself at all times? Is there an inner conflict? Is there something that you keep chasing still? Is there a war within? And there are a lot of people in this world who are fully, like, this would be also discomfort, and this would be comfort. Connected. Depression would be not let's say this would be sorry about that. Completeness. And this would be the light self. And this would be secure. So, yeah, anger, danger, safety, anger, kindness, pain. What is the opposite of pain? Well-being, sadness, joy. So yeah, like I said, there are a lot of people that I would say that they are aligned with themselves, with their surroundings. So how would that work if we're looking at the collective, the world outside? Like if I'm presenting here that with integration, the chaos harmony. So if we don't have the chaos within, how is there still chaos on the outside? Like if there are people who don't have the chaos within, how is there still chaos on the outside? Well, first of all, for the people who kind of see this reality for what it is, the chaos on the outside will never take away the inner peace. The inner peace can never be tied into the outside peace. Like it's not dependent. Your inner peace is not dependent on anything. It is only, the inner peace is just you not feeling disconnected anymore. Like once you know that you are the consciousness having this experience on the profound fundamental level, then then you can kind of land on that inner peace, because you know that no matter what, you are the infinite having just this experience. So that would give you the inner peace that none of this can ever take away. And there are those people who are not, and even with that inner peace, these can still happen and will happen. But it's just through your integration that the effect that these have kind of goes away. Because the opposites always, once you integrate the opposite, you create the completeness. Like I said before, there is no life or birth. The death completes birth. Bad completes good. So going back to how, if there are people in this reality that we all share, who are kind of aligned, they feel the connection to the infinite, and they don't have the inner chaos anymore. So how is the world still to them the same as it to us? That's what the collective is. uh, like one could say that if those like in this world there is still so much harmonious beauty. The only thing you just have to do is just sit without any external influence and be, and that is basically the only thing that we need ever to go back to the complete harmony. I know that the mind is gonna be there trying to raise its own voice, but beyond that, there is the harmony at all times. So, so the people who kind of have integrated and don't have the inner chaos, but they still live in this same reality. Well, first of all, their experience is not the same. It is unrepeatable. It is through their eyes, and they might see the world with all its chaos, with all its sorrow, worries, pain, wars, whatever. They might still see all this beauty in it. And okay, so that's how, like I've heard this argument before that there are people who are aligned and living in harmony and all that, and still the world is a chaotic place. And that is still because the collective uh, expresses the vibration in such way. But ask yourself, whatever desperation, pain, fear, anger, sadness you are going through, or better yet, if you see the world being in this sort of stages, like lots of discomfort, lots of danger, anger, pain, fear, sadness, chaos, insecurities, lots of darkness. Like this would be the dark side. Dark side of and this is the light side. So the dark side of the moon. What is the moon? Moon is the physical manifestation of the material. So the dark side of the moon is just your shadow side. And that's what moon also, it means mind. The dark side of the mind. And then there's the light side of the mind. And we tend to only like the light side of mind, but we live in the dark side. So eventually we're getting to the integration. So traumas are usually like let's say that there are levels to this. There kind of isn't, but just for the sake of demonstrating it, because everything always happens in the now, and I'm going to do, probably the next video will be pretty boring video. I'm not saying that this is very exciting either, but I'm gonna do a video on history. It's all in the name. It's history, but there is so much nonsense about what history is, and that's where confusion usually sets in because if you don't understand where you come from, it's hard to know where you are right now. The life only happens in the now. But if you feel disconnected from your past, the history, you don't know how you came to be. So it's gonna be probably the longest video I'll ever do. But just to give that context, more meaning to everything, kind of like better understanding. I feel like the history kind of serves its purpose, but it can only be the real history. And we all know how much each chapter of the history has been distorted. So I'm gonna do the so-called full history, and I'm gonna let you know where everything was distorted, why, by who. Then we're gonna do the religions at the same time, in the same way. So now you will have the full history of how you came to be. And so that's like, it's gonna be billions of years that we're gonna be talking about. So just imagine, it's gonna be a very long video. But it's gonna be, you don't need any of this. Like, nobody needs to hear this or the history. But for those who feel how this would resonate with somebody, or the history, then it will serve them purpose in that way. But you are always this, regardless if you ever open a history book or watch another YouTube video or anything. You are always this. This is just basically feeding your mind a little more, but it's also serving a purpose once you start to understand on the mechanics on the soul level. And like I said, we can do like a bit of a look into how you are in full control of your energy at all times at the end of this. So but yeah, we're gonna do history, and enough of that right now. So the dark side of the mind, the light side of the mind. So okay, another good one would be shame, lie, cheat. And this would be integrity, honesty, and that was cheat. So, well, that's the same. So, okay. So, let's say we all have a past, and in the history part, we're gonna be diving more into the so-called traumas in our previous experiences. I'm also gonna explain the so-called, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about level, because that all happens right now. But just to give you a better understanding, we can do that next time. But let's say that we have inner conflicts, inner discomfort, inner shadows. We've spoken about shadows before, or inner insecurities, and that leads into inner chaos. So, like in the so-called spiritual stuff, the anger, pain, fear, sadness, shame, lie, cheat, they are kind of like, yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, let's not do any of that. Let's just do this. And because this is the completeness, this is the complete experience. Denying any of this will lead into chaos. So if you are feeling anger, instead of denying that or trying to push that away, meet that anger with kindness. Be kind to yourself because you have this anger. And just kind of observe why that anger, that emotion has risen to your awareness. Instead of pushing it away or denying it, meet it with what the opposite, integrate it with the kindness. And like, do not judge your own anger. There is no, this is the human experience. Why would you deny? Like, I still get angry. I feel a lot of pain. I feel fear. I'm sad. I'm very ashamed. I lie. I cheat. I do all that. This is my, like, this is the human. I don't have to say that I do all this. I've done all this. But going back to, let's say lie. I know a lot about lying. So, and lie always leads into shame. So, and basically everything leads, it's all connected. And on the dark side of the moon, the dark side of the mind, everything kind of feels, it has that same vibrational feeling. Like, but, so let's say that you lie and you are aware that, okay, I just lied. And this is the light that you shed on the dark side of the mind. And you do it, you meet the lie with honesty. And instead of just like denying that, like I didn't lie. Experience that. Why did you lie? Why was it necessary for you to lie? What led you into that? Was it your insecurities? Was it your own discomfort? You didn't want to face something that you felt like the lie was the easy way out. Lie will always come into the light. And instead of denying or like getting rid of the lie, meet it with honesty, integrate it, just observe it. Why? Don't judge. See this for what it is. And once you meet it with, you allow this, then this becomes complete. And you have been living in fear. There's so many different ways to feel fear. Fear of losing something, fear of dying, fear of not getting something, whatever. Just meet that with love. You integrate that with love. And then that becomes whole. And let's say that this is the bad part and this is the good part. And this is the pH 7, and this is the acidic, and this would be the alkaline. 7, and this would be, let's call this 14 and 1. So now that you don't deny any of this. You don't deny the pain, the fear, the shame, the sadness, lie, whatever. And you know what that is. Through the integration, you identify why that was there. You don't have to live in fear anymore. You just are aware and you allow it to be there. But you can now start living through love. But just living through love doesn't, you don't have to deny this. Like, and even with fear, like let's say that you go into the woods and you meet a bear. Your first reaction will be fear, and that's a good thing. Now the fear allows you to actually escape from that situation. I know that once you go into the unconditional love and you are one with everything, that bear feels the same as well. So there will not be encounter of any threat. But in this reality that we're living in right now, the fear actually steers you away from that dangerous situation. So the fear is actually a good thing. It is there to guide you. It is a very helpful thing. So, but once you integrate your pain with the well-being, without trying to deny that or minuscule that, it is an important thing, important part. It is half of the experience. But like I said, you don't have to live in anger. Once you have integrated your both sides of the moon, both sides of the mind, the dark side of the moon, the dark side of the mind, we all have that. Everybody has the shadow side. Shadow gives the light the contrast that we need. How would we know anything about this, like this, if we didn't have this? We wouldn't. That's the beauty of the human experience. So instead of denying, integrate everything, and then you will have the complete human experience. Okay. And that is within. And once that starts to happen within, everything on the outside will follow. Your mind will be there as the threshold that we spoke before. Kind of trying to convince you, like let's say that you have done the integration within today and the world tomorrow will still seem chaotic. Your mind will be there to say that, see, nothing happened. You cannot change the outside, told you. But it is just because your mind is seeing the old programming on the outside. The integration that has happened within is going to be the reprogramming, and it's going to take time. And if you allow it to just flow and unfold, it will do that. So, but trying to change the outside first, these conflicts are only gonna be there within, waiting for you So no matter how you do your crusade on the outside, if the inside is still in chaos, the it's not gonna end up well. Well, everything's gonna end up well anyways, and everything is well in anyways. But so in the middle, the pH7 is the third eye because it always integrates both sides. The third eye only sees the completeness. It doesn't choose sides. It's not, yeah, I'm only happy if we're doing the kindness or this or that. It's the completeness. It is the human experience, which is the beauty of this all. And like I said, I'm going to do the next one should be the history thing, and and that's just because I feel like for a lot of, like I've said, if whatever you're seeking, it's the subtle form of violence to that what is right now. You are going away from right now. And instead of just sitting in silence, in stillness, a lot of people want to keep chasing. And there is no one way. That's because our experience is unrepeatable. Your experience is unique to you. So I have no desire to try to say that you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, I have no idea what you need to do. I'm just sharing my own experience, laying down how I see the mechanics of this all. And yeah, what you do with this is always up to you. So let's end this with something that you can start to understand. You can start to understand the how energy works. And once you start to integrate how you start to integrate both sides of your mind, your experience, how you can start to manipulate the energy. So this is your both sides of your energy. So you can see how it starts to move once you integrate the energy, right? So think about that. You are in full control of your energy at all times. As soon as you understand what the integration means, you will become the master of your own energy. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all.